What's going on, guys? I hope you guys are well. I wanted to talk about a couple of things actually. I hope you guys are staying at home, staying safe, keeping well. Not a lot going on in the boxing world. Not a lot going on. I want to comment on Jeff Mayweather's some comments he made recently, saying that Keith Thurman can't beat Spence or Crawford. What do I make of those comments? Listen, I think Keith Thurman's a very good fighter. I think Errol Spence and Terence Crawford are a cut above him at the minute. I think, I'd favour both of those guys against him. But I don't agree with Jeff Mayweather's comments that Keith Thurman can't beat them. What I've seen with Terence Crawford is that Terence Crawford doesn't look invincible to me. He definitely is a good fighter and he's got a lot of wrinkles to his game, but he definitely looks beatable to me. He looks like a guy that can be cracked. He looks like a guy that can go down. He does look like a guy that, can be hit and hurt. So you don't want to be getting hit and hurt by Keith Thurman, because Thurman can crack. I do think the Spence fight's a lot harder for him. I think Spence takes a better punch. I think Spence punches harder. And I think Spence goes down to that body really well. And we all know Keith Thurman struggles with those body shots. He gets hurt every time he gets hit. And there isn't a better body puncher than Errol Spence in the game. He's vicious with it as well. He'll go down and he'll really dig in those body shots. And he doesn't hit you with one body shot and then hits you with several body shots. I just think that style for Thurman is not a good style. And I think Spence would be a very, very difficult fight for Keith Thurman. However, you can't say Keith Thurman's got no chance of winning that fight. I think Keith Thurman's definitely got a chance to beat Spence and Crawford. So I don't agree with Jeff Mayweather. I think they would be favourite to beat him for sure. For sure, they would be favourite to beat Thurman. But to say that he can't beat them, I think that's a bit far-fetched, if I'm honest with you. Now, I know that Jeff Mayweather obviously loves Spence because Spence is a guy that's, come from the Mayweather boxing club. And Terence Crawford, he loves him again a lot. He thinks he's the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. But I don't agree that Thurman can't beat those guys at all. Like, that's just a stupid statement. We just saw in the last fight, Kavalauskas nearly had, Crawford down. So if Kavalauskas can almost have him down, then Thurman hits a lot harder. He's a better boxer. He moves well. He's a different kettle of fish to what Crawford's been fighting. Different kettle of fish. And I just think that's a tough fight. It's a tough fight for Crawford. That's not an easy fight for Terence Crawford. I would favour Crawford in the fight, but it's not one where I would be shocked if Thurman beats him, stops him. I don't, because I think Thurman is very good. I think Thurman can box. He's got very good feet. He can punch. I actually think Danny Garcia would be an easier fight for Terence Crawford, because I think Danny Garcia can punch, but I think Danny Garcia's not got the skills and the athletic ability that Thurman's got. I don't think he can move like Thurman. I think he's quite flat-footed, so I think someone like Terence Crawford could pick him off. With Thurman, it's a lot harder because Thurman's actually a good boxer as well. His weakness is body punches, but does Terence Crawford throw hard body shots? Well, I do think guys can hurt Thurman to the body. I think Collazo hurt Thurman to the body. And Collazo's not exactly a massive puncher at welterweight. So I do feel that, Thurman's weakness is, taking shots to the body. I think that is always a big problem. He's really weak with taking punches to the body. He gets hurt. And that's why I think the Spence fight is a very, very difficult fight for him, because Spence is notorious for throwing those body shots, and Thurman doesn't take those body shots very well. So I think someone like Spence has got a great chance. But again, I'll say it again, to say that he has no chance, because Thurman punches a lot harder than Porter, right? He can crack. And if he lands a right hand, you're going to feel it. You're definitely going to feel it. I do think Spence has got a good chin though, but I think Thurman is definitely a big, big welterweight. He's a big, big welterweight, can box, can move. So he could give Spence problems using his athletic ability. But again, I would favour Spence heavily. I think he has more chance of beating Crawford than he does Spence. just because I think styles make fights, and I think stylistically Crawford's not that big a puncher, and I think Crawford's a lot more chinny, and he's not a natural welterweight. So I think if Thurman was to land some big shots on Crawford's chin, I think it could be trouble for Crawford. Whereas I think Spence will be able to eat Thurman shots a lot easier, and I think Spence's style of going down to the body would be a problem, and he punches hard, and Thurman, as we know, when he gets hit with body shots, he does, it cripples him. So sometimes certain people just have a weakness, where you could say the same for Amir Khan. When he gets hit with a shot on the temple, he gets hurt. Some people just have a weakness, and I think Thurman's just got that weakness where he's probably got a soft spot in his body where you hit him in a body shot and he can't take it, because there's a lot of guys that get hurt with body shots. It happens, but Thurman gets hurt quite a bit. It's not like he gets hurt with body shots quite a bit. It's not like it's happening every other fight or every fight. He virtually gets hurt with body shots. We saw him get hurt with a body shot with Pacquiao. Porter hurt him with a body shot. Collazo hurt him with a body shot. He's been hurt with a body shot several times. So there's definitely an issue there, a weakness there. But I do think he makes great fights with Spence and Crawford. There's no gimmies. They're tough fights. Very, very tough fights, especially after seeing Spence in with Porter. Thurman's a dangerous fight for either man, and it's a fight that I want to see. But what do you guys think? Leave your thoughts. And guys, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video.
I want to thank you all for me reaching 7,000 subs. I appreciate your support. Guys, as you can probably see from my channel art, I have recently started Patreon and Blogger. If you were to click on this icon here, it will take you to my Patreon page, and I just want to take you through my Patreon page. So at the minute I've got 2 options. Hopefully I will increase this if my Patreon grows, but at the minute I've got one option, which is $1 a month fan donation, which will obviously help me produce better quality content on YouTube and faster for you guys. And I've got another option of $3 a month for 2 live streams a week discussing boxing with myself. You guys will get to speak to me face to face, and I'll take you to my boxing blog. So if you were to click on this B sign here, it will take you to my boxing blogs, which is this page here. And all you have to do is click on here, and that will take you to my boxing blogs, where you can see all my different articles that I've wrote. So as you can see, I've wrote 6 articles about different topics. So if you want to click on one of my articles, all you got to do is click on this, and it will take you straight to the article, and you can read it, and you can then go back and read the others if you would like. But yeah, guys, I thought I'd just highlight this to you. So make sure to read my articles. Make sure to subscribe to my Patreon if you're interested. And guys, I thank you for your support. I thank you for me reaching 7,000 subs. Guys, I'm out.
Guys, what's going on, ladies and gents? I hope you're all well. Guys, whenever I look at myself in the camera now, when I see this thick beard, oh man, it's getting to me. It's getting to me. I'm not liking it. I'm not liking the way it looks, and I'm not liking the way it feels at the minute as well. I need to get rid of it. Just lazy, stuck in this lockdown. I can't be arsed. And you know what? Now that it's got so thick, I don't want to make a mess. I don't. But I hope you guys are well, staying safe, following the government guidelines, staying at home. I know I have a lot of Filipino and United States subscribers. How is it in your country? Are you currently in a lockdown, or is the lockdown easing? Because it looks like here we're still in lockdown, and I don't know if it's going to get any better anytime soon. So I would love to know where you are, wherever you're from, not just United States or the Philippines, or wherever you are in the world. Leave your comments down in the comment section of how the situation is. Are you currently in a lockdown, or are you currently or have the restrictions been eased in your country? Because I know it was like a worldwide lockdown where virtually everyone was locked down, but I know certain places the lockdown has eased. Here in the UK, the lockdown is still currently in full effect. So yeah, hopefully things ease up sometime soon, and we can get back to I don't think we'll ever get back to normal, especially in the foreseeable future. But I do think they'll probably start easing the lockdown. But I don't think we'll get back to normal. I think 2020 will probably be like this all year, where I won't be surprised if we do try to get back to normal. I think there will be a lot of guidelines. There'll be a lot of things put in place moving forward when we do eventually start work, like a lot of social distancing, etc. But there may even be a possibility that there may be a second wave if they get back to normal, and I think that's why they're worried about it, and that's why they don't want to ease the lockdown, because today we had like 600 deaths as well. So it seems like it's a real problem for the government. But let's move on. Let's get on to boxing. Too much of talking about the coronavirus, but I want to talk Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman tells Terence Crawford, send the contract, bad boy. Send the contract. Now, Keith Thurman, we know Keith Thurman, he wants to fight. He wants to fight, and I think he wants to prove himself. I think, Keith Thurman's, he's heard what people have been saying about him. He's heard what I've been saying about him. That he's lost that fire. He's lost that hunger. And we don't see the same Keith Thurman. And all of a sudden, Keith Thurman's come out firing in interviews saying, I want Crawford, I want Spence, I want Pacquiao. He even said, I don't need a tune-up fight. He goes, I'm not in this business for tune-up fights. I'm not in this business for tune-up fights. I want a big fight right away. This game's too hard for easy money. It's too hard. I'd rather work in McDonald's. This is what Keith Thurman said. He goes, I want to jump in straight to a big fight. I don't want a tune-up fight. And he thinks he can take Crawford out. Listen, Terence Crawford, this would be the ideal... if Terence Crawford realizes that there's a possibility Keith Thurman wants to fight him, Terence Crawford needs to start knocking Bob Arum's door down. Firstly, the Kell Brook fight now is unlikely. Bob Arum has said himself that it's unlikely that a US fighter can fly out to the UK and a UK fighter can fly out to the US. So that there's going to be a lot of complications in making the Kell Brook fight now anyway for Bob Arum, Eddie, and it's going to be a difficult situation. And also, if the Keith Thurman fight is possible, because Keith Thurman said for November he wants that fight. He says he wouldn't mind. It's his birthday in November, and he wouldn't mind fighting Terence Crawford in November. If Terence Crawford has an inkling that Keith Thurman wants to fight him, Terence Crawford needs to break the door down to make this fight happen, because this is the ideal fight for Terence Crawford. This is a fight where would be the best guy on his resume. This would be a brilliant fight. I think Terence Crawford needs to break the door down. I do. I think it's a great fight for him. I think it's a fight where he can prove a lot. He can definitely prove a lot. He can prove to the world how good he is. There's been a lot of doubts. People questioning Terence Crawford, saying that he hasn't fought no one. He's a guy that talks a lot. He hasn't fought anybody. He needs wins on his resume. Well, guess what? Keith Thurman is definitely a legitimate guy, a former unified welterweight champion of the world. This is a guy with real credentials. He beat Danny Garcia. He beat Sean Porter. He lost to Manny Pacquiao in a good, well contested fight. So Keith Thurman is a very, very credible fight for Crawford, and a lot of you feel that Keith Thurman knocks out Crawford or beats Crawford. Now I don't know how much of that is because Manny Pacquiao beat Thurman. But again, Crawford would be going into that fight as a favorite, as and I would pick Crawford to win. But I do think Keith Thurman can cause the upset. I think if Thurman can crack Crawford enough on that chin, because I do think Crawford's chin is suspect. I do think he can be hurt. I wouldn't give Keith Thurman much of a chance against Spence. I think Spence knocks him out. I think that's a harder fight for him. I would favor Spence massively in that fight. But against Crawford, just because of the fact that Keith Thurman is a big welterweight, he's a strong dude, he's a big dude, he can box, he can move, he can fight. I do give him a chance against Crawford, I do. I think that's a hard fight for Crawford. And it's a legitimate fight. It's a proper test as far as I'm concerned. It's a proper test. And I want to see that fight. I think it's a brilliant fight for Terence Bud Crawford. I think let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. Keith Thurman's talking about he doesn't need tune-up fights. well then tell Al Heyman to contact Bob Arum and make that fight. Listen, Keith Thurman is not a welterweight world champion anymore. You know, this is an opportunity. If Keith Thurman believes in himself, because Keith Thurman also said, he kind of contradicted himself. He says, I don't need tune-up fights. But then he said, but then Keith Thurman went on to say, well, I'm not in the business for taking losses. Well, you just said a minute ago that you don't want easy money. Well, if you don't want easy money and you want big money, then that comes with a risk. That comes with a risk of you losing. So I didn't quite understand what Thurman was trying to say from that point. Listen, Thurman needs a big fight. I've said it all along that Thurman needs to be motivated. Thurman can't be going, into 12-week training camps, not motivated, going in against lower level opposition, because there's a chance that he might get beat by those guys, and he may not be motivated because Thurman's made a lot of money now. He's made some good money. He's only going to be motivated by big money and challenges, and Crawford brings that. Crawford brings big money and challenges, right? Crawford brings a massive challenge where Thurman would be underdog, and it brings a good purse as well for Thurman, which obviously would motivate Thurman. So to be honest, I think that's the perfect fight for him. Forget the tune-up fights, because he might lose a tune-up fight. Who's he going to fight end up in a tune-up fight? We already saw last time he fought a tune-up fight against Lopez, he almost lost. And that's why he started rigorously calling out Pacquiao. Really, he needed one more fight before Pacquiao, but I think he was so afraid that if I have another tune-up fight, I might actually lose, and before I get that payday with Pacquiao. And that's the problem here. He needs to jump into a big fight straight away with Terence Crawford. And if he believes in himself, if he believes in his talent, and he believes that he is what he says he is, I believe he can win this fight. If Thurman goes in there with the same confidence, same belief that he had before when he wasn't champion, when he was hungry, when he was going to become champion, right? He has that same hunger, that same desire. He's a problem for Terence Crawford. I'm telling you guys, this isn't an easy fight for Terence Crawford. And all the Crawford fans are going to jump on me. This isn't an easy fight for Terence Crawford. Thurman is big, strong. He moves well. He punches hard. This is not an easy fight for Terence Crawford. It is not an easy fight. I'm not saying Thurman's going to win. I'm just saying this is not an easy fight. And if Thurman beats him, it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me. Because like I said, there is a question mark for me around Terence Crawford's chin. There is. I do think he can be hit and hurt. I've seen it. Against guys that are not as big, as strong, and hit as hard as Thurman. He's been hurt by lesser men. Lesser men in terms of they're not as big, strong, and punch as hard as Thurman. He hasn't. I think this would be a very tough fight for Keith Thurman. Very, very tough fight. So I want to see it. Because this fight, if Crawford wins this fight in style, because one thing I will say, that Crawford, when he fought Khan, he knew Khan was a big name and he was up for that fight. If you look at that fight, he was really sharp. Yes, Amir Khan was past his best, but Crawford was very sharp in that fight. Against Kavalauskas, he wasn't as sharp because he probably didn't respect Kavalauskas like he did with Khan. And he wanted to put on a show. It was a pay-per-view fight. It was a big fight against a big name. He wanted to put on a show. And I think you may get the best of Crawford again. Because Crawford will look at Keith Thurman as a threat. And also, it'll be probably a pay-per-view fight. It'll be a big name. It'll be a chance for Crawford to shine. But is Keith Thurman, at this point in his career, still good enough? And just too big, too strong, too powerful, punches too hard? Who knows? He may well be that. He may well be that guy that just be too big, too strong for Crawford. Who knows? I'm telling you, this isn't an easy fight. This is why I'm making videos on this fight, because I actually think this is a great fight. Spence, I think Spence stylistically is all wrong for Thurman. Crawford, however, I do think Thurman has a great chance in that fight, because here's the thing, Crawford doesn't punch as hard. Crawford's not a big puncher. I've seen that throughout his career. He might be knocking guys out. He's not a big puncher. Right? Thurman is a good puncher at welterweight. Right? And he can box. And he can move. And he's got a good leg. So I think this is a tough fight. And I want to see it. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'd love to know your opinion. Do you think Keith Thurman has a chance of beating Terence Crawford? Is it a fight that you want to see? And do you think both fighters should take this fight next? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, guys. And guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. See you guys in the next video. Peace.
I want to thank you all for me reaching 7,000 subs. I appreciate your support. Guys, as you can probably see from my channel art, I have recently started Patreon and Blogger. If you were to click on this icon here, it will take you to my Patreon page. And I just want to take you through my Patreon page. So at the minute, I've got 2 options. Hopefully, I will increase this if my Patreon grows. But at the minute, I've got one option, which is $1 a month fan donation, which will obviously help me produce better quality content on YouTube and faster for you guys. And I've got another option of $3 a month for 2 live streams a week discussing boxing with myself. You guys will get to speak to me face to face. And I'll take you to my boxing blog. So if you were to click on this B sign here, it will take you to my boxing blogs, which is this page here. And all you have to do is click on here, and that will take you to my boxing blogs where you can see all my different articles that I've wrote. So as you can see, I've wrote 6 articles about different topics. So if you want to click on one of my articles, all you got to do is click on this, and it will take you straight to the article, and you can read it, and you can then go back and read the others if you would like. But yeah, guys, I thought I'd just highlight this to you. So make sure to read my articles. Make sure to subscribe to my Patreon if you're interested. And guys, I thank you for your support. I thank you for me reaching 7,000 subs. Guys, I'm out.